Alright, let's take a moment to be honest. This tale, it weaves a complex web. And I never imagined I would share it with anyone, much less a crowd of strangers online. Yet here I stand, feeling the urge to share what's been weighing on my mind. Once upon a time, a tale began to unfold. At 47, divorced, with one child, I find myself in a cycle that feels all too familiar, as if my life is playing on a loop, much like a record that's lost its spark. As a nurse working the night shift, I find myself in a world where the extraordinary becomes routine, where each shift reveals moments that challenge my understanding, and eventually, you learn to navigate the shadows with a sense of familiarity. One becomes accustomed to the peculiar hours, the relentless fatigue, and the tales that send shivers down your spine. And that signifies that my existence beyond the realm of work, well, it's essentially non-existent. Each day, I embark on my journey to work, returning home as the sun sets. I seek the solace of sleep, only to rise and repeat this cycle 5 nights a week. It's a rhythm that has woven itself into the fabric of my existence. Before we embark on this journey, be sure to tap that subscribe button and activate notifications, so you won't miss any astonishing revelations about secrets and tales of betrayal. Believe me, the next chapter is something you won't want to overlook. Yet there exists a singular thread that prevents me from utterly unraveling. Once upon a time, in a vibrant alley filled with laughter and friendly competition, there existed a game known as bowling. Honestly, I understand it may seem a bit, well, reminiscent of something your grandma might enjoy, but I truly adore it. It's my refuge. Last year, I ventured into a league seeking a new pursuit, and to my surprise, I found that I possess a certain knack for it. Well, I must say, I even earned a spot in a tournament, a genuine, authentic tournament. Just 3 hours from here. My heart raced with anticipation. I had been honing my craft for months. It felt as though a fragment of my past, from the time before the divorce, was returning to me. But then the weight of my situation crashed down on me like a relentless storm. Who was going to keep an eye on my son? He's a young soul, navigating the tumultuous waters of adolescence. And let's just say he possesses a certain defiance that sets him apart. He's not quite the type of child you'd want to leave unsupervised for an entire weekend. On the last occasion I ventured into that realm, I returned home only to discover that one of his companions had chosen to challenge the very foundation of my garage with his truck. It was far from beautiful. So I pondered, well, his father, he will take him. Yet, as it often happens, destiny, or perhaps the whims of Murphy's Law, had a different tale to unfold on watch that weekend. The timing couldn't be more impeccable, could it? Alas, I find myself in a predicament. This tournament is a culmination of my hard work, and I simply cannot leave my son to fend for himself at home. So I took the course of action that any responsible, albeit slightly exasperated, mother would choose. With a sense of purpose, I gathered our belongings and set off towards the hotel, ready for the next chapter of our adventure. Within its walls, there lay a shimmering indoor pool. As the morning light filtered through the curtains, I emerged from the warmth of my bed, stretched my limbs, and set off on a gentle quest to rouse my son from his slumber. He lay in a deep slumber, nestled snugly beneath the warm covers. I nudged him softly, and he let out a low groan before turning onto his side. I shared with him my plan to fetch some breakfast and inquired if he wished to join me on this morning adventure. He uttered a soft murmur about pancakes, a clear sign that he had emerged from the realm of dreams. We ventured down to the hotel restaurant, a familiar scene of your typical hotel breakfast buffet unfolding before us. Eggs with a rubbery texture, bacon that's perfectly crispy, and those tiny muffins that always seem to be a bit on the dry side. A brief inquiry: from which corner of the world do you lend your ear to the tales being told? Share your city or country in the comments below. It's always captivating to witness the far-reaching tales of secrets and deceit. My son piled his plate high with pancakes and syrup, while I chose a more sensible omelet. We lingered over our meal, savoring the stillness of the morning, wrapped in a comforting silence. Once we finished our breakfast, I inquired if there was anything he wished to experience before my return to the bowling alley. He brightened at once. He mentioned that there's a mall nearby. In their midst, there exists a GameStop. I've been on a quest for this game, and it seems they might just have it in their treasure trove. Once upon a time, I found myself wandering through the vast expanse of shopping centers. But I must confess, they never truly captured my heart. In the midst of the hustle and bustle, where voices blend into a cacophony, I often find myself feeling overwhelmed, as if the weight of my wallet is heavier than the atmosphere around me. Yet, my son is not one to ask for much. He's a fine young lad, truly. Thus, I found myself in agreement. We journeyed to the bustling mall, teeming with a crowd, and made our way directly to GameStop. He discovered the game he had been seeking, a worn, second-hand game that somehow commanded a price of nearly $60. It was beyond my wildest imagination, honestly, can you believe it? Yet, his excitement was palpable. And he rarely made requests, so I let out a sigh and reached for my wallet. I invested in the game, and he flashed a grin in my direction, a true, joyful smile that rendered the entire experience worthwhile. We meandered through the mall for a few more hours, indulging in the art of window shopping and observing the tapestry of life around us. It was truly pleasant, sharing some meaningful moments with him, only we remain. It brought back memories of his childhood, a time untouched by the turmoil of adolescence. If you're captivated by the thrilling twists and turns of this tale so far, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. It truly allows us to deliver even more wild, authentic tales to you that night. As I returned to the bowling alley, a warm sense of satisfaction washed over me. With a heart full of joy and a spirit rejuvenated, I had just shared precious moments with my son. And now I stood poised, ready to unleash my finest performance on the bowling lane. Interestingly, it seems that my performance on the bowling lane improves when I'm feeling weary and under pressure. I journeyed from the heights of second place, only to find myself descending to the depths of fifth. Though it was a challenge, I endeavored to maintain an optimistic outlook. One of the girls I bowl with back home, Sarah, truly triumphed in the tournament. Joy filled my heart for her. She has toiled with dedication and she has truly earned it. Following the award ceremony, a group of us chose to venture out and celebrate the occasion. They extended an invitation to me and I assured them I would attend, provided I wouldn't need to take the wheel. The bar we ventured to was conveniently located just across the street from the hotel. A delightful stroke of luck. Honestly, who feels like getting behind the wheel after a night of festivities? We placed our drink orders, and I chose to treat myself just a bit. I'm not one to indulge often, but there are moments when a glass of wine calls to me. Let's just say that on this occasion, I found myself enjoying a bit more than just a single glass. Amidst the joy, we shared laughter, engaged in conversation, and reveled in the celebration of Sarah's victory. It was a delightful moment. It seems I found my way back to the hotel around the stroke of 1 a.m. In that moment, I found myself a bit tipsy, yet enveloped in a warm embrace of happiness and relaxation. At this juncture in the tale, the tension is poised to escalate dramatically. Keep your ears open, for the next chapter is about to unfold, and hey, be sure to subscribe so you won't miss the grand unveiling. I gently pushed the door to our room, revealing my son peacefully asleep in his bed, the glow of the TV casting a soft light around him. A smile crept across my face as I pondered the serene expression he wore. After a brief interlude in the bathroom, I slipped into my cozy pajamas and returned to the sanctuary of my bed, ready to embrace the night. The room seemed to whirl around, though in truth, it was still. As I settled my head upon the pillow, drawing the covers snugly around me, I endeavored to immerse myself in the unfolding tale on the screen before me. Yet, for some inexplicable reason, slumber eluded me. As I lay there, my mind wandered through the thoughts of the tournament, my son, and the tapestry of life itself. It must have been close to 3 a.m. when I caught the sound of my son stirring in his bed. I glanced over at him, noticing the gentle rise and fall of his blanket. My initial thought was, could he be? Well, it's a common reflection for any parent, isn't it? Particularly with a young man in his teenage years. He crept along, each step deliberate and soft, likely under the impression that I had drifted into slumber. The more I observed, the deeper my curiosity grew. It may seem strange, but I assure you, it's the reality. A peculiar wave of excitement began to wash over me. As I pondered, a sense of wrongness washed over me. Yet I found myself unable to resist the pull of the moment. A thrill coursed through me, the awareness of his actions just a few feet away igniting a spark within. It was a feeling shrouded in secrecy, a taboo that wrapped around the heart like a vine, and oh, how intoxicating it was. After about 10 minutes, I found myself, well, let's just say I was experiencing emotions I hadn't encountered in a long while. I found myself pondering, will he ever take that step? Perhaps it was the wine, or perhaps it was the weight of solitude, but I found myself at a breaking point. I suddenly exclaimed, "Do you require any assistance with that?" As I pondered the situation, a thought crossed my mind. If he were to decline, I could simply feign a conversation in my slumber. To my astonishment, he agreed. And that's when the realization washed over me. What shall I embark on now? That solitary word, yes, lingered in the atmosphere, a bold, unyielding reality. A transformation unfolded as if a switch had been activated, a barrier shattered. The uncertainties and the regrets slipped into the background, giving way to an uncanny feeling of destiny unfolding. It felt like I was observing my own existence from afar, a mere onlooker in the unfolding drama of my life. A peculiar detachment washed over me as if I were drifting through a dream. Caught in a web of unreality. It felt like I was transcending my own existence. Shedding the limitations of ethics and the weight of societal norms, I rose to my feet. A peculiar numbness coursing through my legs and made my way toward his bed. The room was enveloped in the gentle luminescence of the TV, projecting elongated, whimsical shadows that waltzed across the walls. I paused at the brink of his bed, my heart racing within my chest. A wild rhythm echoing in the stillness, the warmth emanating from his body was undeniable. A tangible heat that beckoned me nearer. For a fleeting moment, I paused, my hand poised just above the edge of the blanket. A quiet inquiry lingering in the atmosphere. With a measured grace, I extended my hand and gently drew the covers aside, unveiling him to the world. He lay there, his eyes wide, a blend of astonishment and an elusive emotion, something I couldn't quite unravel. His hand remained tightly coiled around himself. A quiet testament to the moment I had unwittingly disrupted. I lingered for a moment, gazing at him, attempting to unravel the unfolding events. It felt as though I was gazing upon a stranger, an unfamiliar version of my son that I had never encountered before. It was an intriguing blend of the known and the unknown, a delicate intertwining of the essence of motherhood and something beyond. An undeniable force beckoned me, a compelling desire to reach out and connect with him. I extended my hand, a slight tremor coursing through my fingers, and carefully lifted his hand away. His skin radiated warmth, a hint of moisture clinging to it, the feeling igniting a shiver that danced down my spine. I spoke softly, my words barely escaping my lips. "Allow me to assist you with that." I cast my eyes downward, following the contours of his form, the delicate bends and sharp edges that felt both known and intriguingly fresh. I could perceive the signs of his awakening, the delicate shifts that signified the journey from youth to maturity. I started to draw nearer, the atmosphere heavy with unvoiced longings and taboo musings. I observed my hand as it started to glide, my fingers weaving slow, intentional designs along his form. It was gentle and yet so resolute. The juxtaposition was exhilarating. My breath quickened, and my body reacted to the tantalizing touch that beckoned from the shadows. I observed the emergence of a glistening droplet, a shimmering pearl forming at the very tip. I leaned in, my tongue darting out to savor it, the salty tang sending a jolt of electricity coursing through me. He flinched at the touch, a gentle gasp slipping from his lips. "Would you like me to?" I murmured, my voice thick with longing. He nodded, his gaze locked onto mine, a wordless request shimmering in their depths. I bent my head, my lips grazing his skin, the feeling igniting a surge of warmth within me. I embraced him with my lips, the flavor and feel igniting a delightful shiver that coursed through my entire being. As I progressed, I sensed his hands gliding to my hair, tenderly tugging. In a voice that rumbled like distant thunder, I leaned in and whispered to him that if he dared to pull, he just might find himself captivated by the unfolding events. He tugged gently, and a fresh wave of longing washed over me. I urged him to push himself further, and he rose to the challenge. I embraced him in return. The feelings washed over me, a swirling blend of delight and remorse, yearning and embarrassment. It felt as though I was ensnared in a tempest, swirling and spinning under the influence of powers far greater than myself. I sensed his tension, his body quivering as he approached the peak of his pleasure. His release was a powerful wave, a surge of warmth that enveloped my mouth, a flavor that danced between the realms of familiarity and taboo. In the aftermath, a profound hush enveloped the scene. In that serene space, we found ourselves entwined, our breath softly merging in the stillness of the room. The atmosphere was heavy with unvoiced feelings, burdened by the gravity of our recent actions. "We mustn't let this become routine," I murmured at last, my voice scarcely rising above a whisper. I sensed the deception, a frantic grasp for a flicker of normalcy. Yet, the words resonated with a sense of emptiness, a hollow echo, reminiscent of a promise I understood I could never fulfill. We endeavored to converse, to unravel the threads of what had transpired, yet the language felt insufficient. The feelings were intensely vivid, intricately layered, and deeply intertwined. And then, as if guided by an unseen hand, we discovered ourselves irresistibly pulled back together. The longing flares up, fierce and untamed like a wildfire. He requested me once more, and I discovered I could not bring myself to say no. The guilt lingered, a persistent whisper in the shadows of my thoughts. Yet it was overshadowed by the powerful tide of longing that surged within me. "Oh my God," I thought. "He's prepared once more." I pondered whether it was wise for him to have arrived so soon. And soon my thoughts began to swirl with a flurry of other notions. The boundaries that defined mother and son, that separated right from wrong, were hazy, twisted, and nearly vanished. We found ourselves ensnared in a tempest of hidden longings, a ballet of fervor and remorse, a clandestine bond that would eternally unite our fates. In that moment, we found ourselves surrounded by a palpable tension. The atmosphere thick with the unsaid, burdened by the gravity of our actions. Deep within me, I understood that the events that had unfolded were fundamentally flawed, both in moral and ethical terms. In every conceivable direction. Yet, that guilt, that weighty, stifling sensation was but a momentary shadow. It would arrive in surges, overwhelming me before pulling back, leaving in its wake a peculiar, almost disquieting feeling of expectation. I repeatedly reassured myself. This cannot occur once more. I sought to engage in a dialogue within my own mind, searching for a path to harmonize our actions with the truth of what we shared. Yet, the reality was that the boundaries had become indistinct, perhaps even wiped away. And the deeper I delved into my thoughts, the clearer it became that I had no desire to wipe them clean. It was akin to a shadowy enigma, an illicit excitement, that throbbed just beneath the veneer of our mundane existence. The guilt and shame lingered in the shadows, yet they were eclipsed by an intriguing, almost intoxicating sense of power and desire that beckoned from within. A shiver ran down my spine as I realized with an unsettling clarity that this was far from over. And so, it was merely the dawn of a new chapter. Once upon a time, a new chapter was about to unfold. A tale woven with intricacies, something perilous, something exhilarating. My mind wandered to various realms, to countless possibilities, to different paths through this intriguing new dynamic. As I pondered the future, my imagination began to weave a tapestry of possibilities. Each thread a glimpse of what might come next. I envisioned fresh avenues to connect, uncharted paths to discover, and daring methods to shatter every rule we had ever embraced. And that was the moment when the delightfully mischievous thoughts began to sneak in. Concepts that set my heart aflame. Concepts that sent shivers down my spine. Concepts that led me to reevaluate all that I believed to be true about my own identity. I began to ponder the idea of embarking on this journey once more. But in a different place altogether. What if we ventured beyond the limits even more? What if we embarked on a journey of imagination? Allow me to pose a question for your consideration. What would unfold if you found yourself in a scenario like this? Ensnared in a tempest of unspoken longings, what would you choose to embark upon? Would you take flight? Could you find it in your heart to let go of the past? Or shall you embark on a journey of discovery? Share your reflections in the comments below. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to Secrets and Cheating Stories for more astonishing tales and genuine confessions that will leave you captivated.